Now, the way that we're looking at, when I came out to my school 2014, we're following more of an outcome-based learning assessment. Pero outcome-based versus competency is more collaborative. Kung nakikita nyo naman po sa left side, minumove yung estudyante, parang pinapaakyat yun siya sa ladder. Right? Parang, in a way, individualized lang. O sige, yan yung kakayahan mo, move up, ganun. Pero yung outcome-based is more collaborative in a way. And if you look at it more, the teacher becomes more a guide in the side. You're trying to move towards a paradigm of being more of a facilitator on the side and the depth of knowledge. So these are just teaching assessment of thinking, reflecting, and creating. Pagbibigay ako ng quiz. Oh, quiz tayo ngayon. Okay, we've learned the concept. Let's have a quiz. So of course, you kind of like move them to that direction. So, in a way, so you have these kids. In most cases, ang sa DataPad ko is you kind of like see sa outcomes na to. Let's say, 5 lang yung outcome for the first marking period, right? First marking period lang to. Ito lang yung chine-check ko. Would be very, very high in some outcomes, yung iba po hindi. So, ang tendency po, when you conference with one kid, ang titingnan nyo po is you get to have a conversation. O sige, let's do a formulating testable question. How you show them the rubric and then you kind of like have a conversation, say from where they're going to move so that they can go 4 to a 5. Way, pag tinanong mo estudyante, hindi niya sasabihin, ang grade ko sa science, 15 out of 20. Ang conversation ngayon, pag pumunta ka sa estudyante, sabihin mo, ano yung sa outcome mo sa science na medyo weak ka or outcome mo na medyo. So sasabihin niya, oh, in science, I can actually evaluate my own work. In a marking period, ganyan lang kakonti yung outcome na assess ko. Right? So, moving forward. Again, I'm telling you, this is more of an assessment and not evaluation. Because assessment is more ongoing. As I told you, I'm conferencing with a kid. It's more positive because I go conference with a kid and I tell him, okay, John, what do you want to focus on today? Because you notice your outcome in this part is not doing well. So let's focus on that today. Kami po sa school namin, we recognize that diversity is not just po yung uri ng tao, yung pagkatao niya, yung itsura niya, right? So ang diversity is not just the physical. So we're looking at the diversity of talent and thought, how students think outside the box and finds original answer. And most of the time kasi ngayon, I remember high school pa ako noon. Pag nakikita ko, pagbabalik sa akin ng teacher yung papel, ang dami namang, as in, tama yung concept. Let's say, sinabi niya, explain the digestive system. Sa tama yung pagka-explain ko. Pagbalik ng papel sa akin, I don't get a perfect score kasi puro red marks na kasi mali daw yung grammar ko, ang pagkasulat ko. Pero ang ina-assess mo naman is if I'm able to explain about the process of digestion. Hindi mo naman ina-assess sa akin kung tama yung grammar ko o tama yung comprehension. The tendency of teacher kasi, mali yung objective ng pag-assess. Right? Like my case, most of the time, hindi ako na-engganyo magsulat kasi yung teacher lagi minamind yung grammar mo, spelling mo, so puro mali na yan. So, pero hindi na, ang outcome mo naman talaga is if you can explain the process, which you can. Pag dumabalik sa akin yung paper, kung medyo pa parang nasasaktan ka kasi hindi nakikita ng teacher at binibigyan ka ng minus 2 ka kasi puro wrong spelling, minus 1 ka puro. So, ganun po yung nangyayari pag hindi po kayo nagpa-follow ng outcome-based. Ano ba yung talagang ina-assess mo sa papel ng mga bata? I'd like to go back is, bakit ang hirap po sa atin? Why is it so difficult for us to recognize equity and diversity when we're assessing students? Of course, nandiyan po din yung part na ang dami niya po estudyante and I understand it. If you come to think of it, hindi nyo naman po kailangan i-assess lahat ng estudyante nyo in one sitting. In a day, I know in this class A, sa 25 kids ko, 3 lang or 5, the most in a period na na-assess ko dyan clearly. The reason why it's difficult kasi syempre, dami nating paperwork. Right. Tapos kailangan pa tayong obserbahan, so medyo pressure yun. Aside from that, of course, you have to actually talk to the kid after school, during your lunch. And of course, you have to have that, social motion, that certain relationship with students. So ang hirap po talaga to recognize that. You're juggling on a lot of things. Kaya mahirap talaga i-recognize ang diversity when you're assessing students. You're going to go online. I'm hoping that after all these sessions, you can kind of like get an idea how to make the load easier or how you can work together in making your workload a little less heavy. Like I said, paano yung mental health nyo? And of course, the tendency is ayaw nyo na, you give up. Lalo na ngayon, I am not a tech person. And mind you, sometimes it's so hard to deal or design lessons, especially pag online na yan. And I truly understand for like most of you, mas maraming preparation. Kind of like you gotta find ways into how to deal with it. But when you come to the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. You got to find a way to help support each other, lalo na dito sa online or remote learning. So, Here's an idea. When you're doing outcome-based, ganito. So, kunyari may 5 teacher, di ba? So, sa school namin kasi, may mga 6 na teacher that's only in charge of 4 classes. But the good thing about our school, I mean, hopefully, maybe in years to come, mag-iba na yung setup. We are in charge of 4 classes. So, alam namin yung mga estudyante, we help each other. And instead na, grade, puro grade ka, we kind of like talk to each other and kind of like say, okay, let's focus on 3 things. Let's say this first marking period. Ano lang yung outcome mo sa, let's say, math? Kunyari, meron ka lang content na pinofocus o yung skill na pinofocus mo, tapos meron ka lang behavior. Alam nga namang pag late ka attendance, puro ka na lang minus dahil late ka sa klase. Siyempre, ang tendency ng estudyante, they'll give up. Kasi parang naisip nila, pinagkakaisan lang ng mga teacher na to. So, the behavior, you kind of like say, okay, mag-a-assess ako ng behavior niya when it comes to lateness. Pero yung ibang teacher will focus on other behaviors. So look at the bottom part. Siguro sa science, ako mag-focus on their ability to be participative. Siguro yun yung behavior. Yung ibang teacher will focus on that. We kind of talk to each other. This is like weekly and kind of like say, okay, ito yung outcome ko sa behavior, ikaw yung outcome mo. Tapos ito yung skill na ina-assess ko sa kanila. And this is easier for us kasi nga project-based kami. And I know it's not gonna be easier for you kasi hindi project. But mind you, since ngayon nag-melt na kayo, I think this is one way you can actually talk to each other and say, I am just assessing. So kung English teacher ka at nag-assess ka, let's say, example ko nga, grammar or comprehension, alam nga naman, mag-assess pa ako niyan sa science. In-assess na nga yung bata ng grammar comprehension ng teacher, tapos a-assess ko. So you kind of like just look at it. Instead of going to like, lahat tayo mag-grade. You work collaboratively, talk to each other, and cooperate and see how you can actually just focus on a skill for each subject area. Ano yung behavior na pinofocus nyo, ano yung content nyo for each. And sometimes 1 or 2 yung content na yan, right? Pag nag-a-analyze na sila ng text sa history, hindi na sila kailangan magawa masyado sa English. So the teacher can actually say, sometimes I help the other teachers then. O ito nga si Juan, pakiano nga kasi talagang hindi pa siya marunong magsulat ng 1 sentence. So pag may time ako at nagko-conference ako din, let's say conference ako sa Juan for Tuesdays, so talaga sabihin ko, Juan, look, you're good with the science now. Let's focus on your English outcome. You're not a sentence. So we work on that, and then the kids see the connection na all these things are actually connected. The subjects are actually connected. Hindi na lang siya, kasi math yan, kasi science yan, kasi. In these times, don't overload yourself kasi I know for a lot of you, you still have to figure out the app, the technology and all. It'll be so hard for you if you also, the assessment, problemahin nyo pa sa sarili nyo.